And one thing about Addie's playstyle is that he's never selfish. He will help laners push out waves, but doesn't purposefully steal cannon minions.
Já taky jim pomáhám odpušovat wavy. Když tady hrdím jungle, tak vždycky pomáhám odpušovat wavy. Protože jim to prostě pomůže, že jo, a nemistratě, co by ne.
He will always come to help at objective fights and clear vision.
Jsem úplně já, ne? No, mám podobný jméno jak já. A rank 1 hráč, který Trollí. Měl by asi údajně hrát Tarika podle náhledáků.
September 12th, 2015 was a very important day in the history of this game. This is the day that the biggest
To jsem ještě hrál pro play hole, actually. V season 5.
League of Legends YouTuber of all time decided to quit making videos about the game. And something that is rather comical about it is that
Jaký youtuber nenatočil 4 videa o tom minimálně, že končí s lolkem a pak se k němu za měsíc vrátil, že jo? Lidi strašně rádi klikají na videa, kde někdo říká, že končím s lolkem, už to nikdy nehraju. Protože každý 2 ze 3 lolkařů fungují tím stylem, že se prostě naštvou a odinstalujou lolko a za měsíc ho se nainstalujou, nebo za týden ho nainstalujou, že jo?
The most viewed video about League from an individual YouTuber. You know, a video about how the game sucks and he's quitting. Look, even though I've made videos in the past
a těch kviterů je prostě tak strašně moc, ty vole, toho lolka, je to přijde komický docela.
that don't always paint it in the best light, a reasonable question that you might have is how come I haven't made a video like this? Why haven't I quit League like so many others? And I think the biggest reason is to look at Donkey himself. Remember when he said this in his video?
My appreciation for this game is waning all the time.
For me, despite all other issues, my appreciation for this game has not depleted, and that's why I'm still here. My interest in high-level play, my respect for the game's best players, it's all still.
Já jsem to třeba někdy jako neodinstaloval a nainstaloval znovu. Já jsem jako neměl tu potřebu. Já jako dokážu to nehrát tolik dní, kolik nechci hrát, jo. Nebo teďka hraju hlavně kvůli streamu, že jo? A hraju vlastně jenom na streamu, já off-stream lolko nehraju. Že to stačí na streamu, že jo, bohatě.
And I'm still intrigued watching the best one tricks and studying pros. Even on the days in which solo queue has completely ruined my mental, I can still wake up the next morning and watch VODs of Korean Challanger and Chinese super server players. It's a part of my daily routine. I have nothing but a great...
Jako jo, když měníš nějakého čempa, tak podívat se na Korejce, jak to hraje, to je jako hodně dobrý jako způsob, jak se něco naučit, ale asi bych takhle nefetoval jako úplně všechny možný čempy, ale spíš toho svýho jednoho, no.
...of respect for players who push the boundaries of the game, break the meta, and perfect these unique strategies. Which is why today, it's finally time to discuss League's secret GOAT, a player who many of you may have never heard of before. And those of you who do know him understand just how special and interesting he really is.
Okay.
Meet Addie, League's most successful...
Addie? To je kombinace mýho jména a mýho niku. Adam a Addie. Tyho, já jsem jim neslyšel nikdy třeba.
Troll, a guy who has held Korean Challenger for a while now, while never taking Flash. This year, he reached rank 1 on the most competitive...
Jako Flash se docela přeceňuje, že jo? On Ghost má kratší cooldown a v teamfightech je Ghost lepší než Flash, třeba si myslím. Jo, ale ono zase všichni berou Flash, protože je strašně OP v idli. I ve fightech je samozřejmě mega OP, ale nemusí být. A taky jediná věc, která counteruje Flash, je další Flash. Takže ve většině situací je asi Flash víc OP zase, no. Ale Ghost můžeš používat častěji. A na dobrým čempovi s Ghostem je to fakt dobrý. Tak to uzavřu.
...server in the world doing things nobody else has ever done. Roaming Recon top with the support item, Flashless Shen, Taric top in jungle, Thresh top lane with lethal tempo. In some games, he averages as little as 3 CS per minute and still finds a way to beat the best players in the world. So how does he do it? And what can we learn from a player that another content creator previously called the best player he's ever seen?
He's legit trolling, okay? Legit trolling. He's smurfing on everybody. He's cracked.
Okay.
This video is sponsored by Loot Boy. Loot Boy is a new way to earn in-game items, and given how good some of these new League skins are, I really think this is needed right now. Instead of directly buying RP, you can earn your way and unlock them through Loot Boy. They have these
Loot Boy? Když kupovat přes jiný stránky ještě vole skiny do lolka, nebo co?
weekly comics that you can read that are funny and feature silly little adventures. They come out on a regular basis, and reading through them will give you coins. If you're the type of player who enjoys hex tech boxes and loot packs in other games, instead of buying those, you can buy Loot Boy packs, which feature rewards that value anywhere from $5 to $100. You can get some cool gifts such as this $20 RP card, and of course you can redeem that in-game for some sweet skins. If you feel that you already have enough League skins, no problem. Loot Boy also offers packs for Steam, Google Play, packs for games like Fortnite, all kinds of stuff. Look how easy this is to earn diamonds. All I had to do today was log in, input today's daily code, and then boom, I'm well on my way to earning some of the new skins. Whether you're looking to passively get stuff for free or try your luck with the loot packs, Loot Boy has
Jako to reklama, nevím, jestli tomu věřit.
good rewards for everyone. Loot Boy is available on iOS, Android, and PC, and you can try today using my link in the description down below. More than ever before, it feels like the League of
Zkusili jste to někdy někdo čete? Funguje to?
Legends meta forces you to play the best champions in the game. And my most recent video is about this very topic, so if that truly is the case, what's so different about Addie? What is he able to do that allows him to break the meta? I think that first and foremost, before anything about his playstyle, champion pool, build choices, or decision making, he does one thing extremely well. He's got that monk mental. Addie doesn't stream consistently, so technically I don't have any proof that he never tilts or gets upset, and it would be understandable after grinding thousands of games that he still does get mad at the game, but it doesn't seem like he does. This factor alone gives Addie a massive advantage over so many of the weak-minded players. All of those times in which the bad mental players would threaten to troll games or actually do grief and give up, Addie never does. He genuinely seems like he has a good time playing League and he has fun in-game, which I don't think a lot of us can say. He also doesn't have a massive ego about the laning phase. He knows that all that matters at the end is winning the game, destroying the Nexus. He knows that his typical setups are not lane focused, so it doesn't bother him if he goes down a bunch of CS or dies solo. Of course
jako tady hráči většinou nemají ego, nebo jak to říct, nebo hráči, kteří hrajou takovýhle čempy, jako co hraje on, že tam hrál Dakana nebo Tarika, jo? Největší ega mají většinou lidi, co hrajou ADC, mid, i jungle, i top asi, nevím. Spíš to je o čempech, než o lane možná. O tom, jakýho hrajou čempa mi přijde. Ale hodně teda ADCčka midaři asi, bych řekl, ze zkušenosti.
He's going to lose lane with the type of setup that he runs, and he doesn't let it get to him. When Addie first came into the limelight about a year and a half ago, it resulted in quite the reaction. Players, myself included, were puzzled, confused.
Napadá mě prostě Draven, no.
Whatever adjective you'd like to use as to how this was even possible. This dude would average less than 5 CS per minute, very often would lose his lane by a significant amount, at a certain point stopped farming altogether and purchased the support item halfway through the game, never took flash, and played off-meta champions. All of that sounds like a recipe for disaster, but it wasn't, because he hit Korean Challanger. Every year, the Korean server averages somewhere between 3 to 5 million players. It has the best connection and the least amount of lag. This server attracts foreign players to come to South Korea and boot camp to practice. Pros from other regions want to play on this server for the purpose.
Mají tak dobrý server, že tam máš 5 ping, no, nebo kolik, možná i třeba 2 ping, nebo něco takového. Já hraju celý život na 30 až 60, no, takže.
Purposes of improving at the game. It is ultra competitive, and someone who seemingly doesn't even try that hard can outclimb pros who are paid millions to be good at League of Legends. The key to his success is all in the roams and the ganks. He would show incredibly good understanding of map movement and vision control. His roams were on these weird timings that would help snowball his team. After Riot nerfed teleport before 14 minutes with the Unleash system, many top laners felt as though their map impact was significantly lower. But in the case of Addie, he would take the nerf in stride, and instead of using his TP to go bot, sometimes he would walk bot lane and successfully gank, and then use his teleport to go back top. Also because Addie...
To je taky dobrá strategie, no, že naportíš zpátky na to, když ti wave doběhne k tvojí turetě, tak to naportíš, potom to zdal roam na bot. To je asi jako lepší, no, nebo jako jistější způsob. Protože když dáš TP na bot, tak to nemusí vyjít. Když na ten bot dojdeš pěšky a pak až portíš k sobě na top, tak je to daleko víc safe, je to jistější, no.
Always takes Ghost. When he would TP to the tower on a pushing lane, sometimes he could just run the enemy down. He is the...
Záleží, jak je zase bot wave nastavená, že? Jestli se tam zrovna dá dojít pěšky, nebo je potřeba tam naportit, abys tam byl dřív.
The epitome of lose lane, win game, because he makes sure that his teammates are all doing well. In the mid-game, he would reach a point where he'd mostly stop farming and pick up a support item. He'd end up completing the quest at about 25 minutes or so, and when doing that, his skill as a support player can also shine. His vision control and denial is fantastic, and he's a great team fighter. The champions he likes to play make sense with this playstyle. They are low income, low resource utility characters. There's so much inherent value from a Taric, Gragas, Shyvana, and Galio. You really wouldn't be able to make this style work on something that requires a lot of resources, because typically those champions don't have
hráčempy, který nepotřebují jako damage, nepotřebují moc itemů a hraje hodně na spoluhráče, no, ale takhle se dá hrát jako až takovýmhle stylem se dá hrát až někdy od Masteru třeba, že jakoby přes ty nižší divize se musíš dostat s něčím, co dává damage, no, co se nafídí samo a samo jakoby tahá celkem dost.
The highest base damage. Regardless of how behind a Gragas is, he will always have a game-changing ultimate and excellent crowd control. Even though Thresh Top doesn't sound very good and probably shouldn't be able to get out of lane, Addie would make
jako tank Thresh Top není vůbec špatný.
It work because Thresh hooks are always useful. An often less talked about reason for this working is also due to the tilt. Let's be honest here. When the enemy top laner walks into bot and ganks your lane, even if you're...
Co on hraje, počkej. On má attack speed botu a gauntletu. Ten build jsem hrál tak půl roku dozadu na Threshe, jsem to zkoušel. Jako nebylo to nic moc, no, ale týpek, který s tím hraje, má v Challengeru, vole. Okay.
Top laner goes up a lot of CS, there's still some emotional damage that's been done. Everybody who plays this game wants to smurf on the enemy and be strong. It doesn't feel good for the ego to get carried, and that doubles when Addie also doesn't have a good score or KDA. Addie is one of the few players that doesn't care if he's 1-6. He doesn't care about dealing the most damage or having a good score for the screenshots. He cares about killing.
Mě je to taky jako jedno, no, upřímně. Když hraješ jungly, tak hraješ asi podobným stylem jako tenhle týpek třeba. Nebo supporty, když hraješ, který nedávají damage třeba. Nesmíš hrát stylem, že jsi hlavní postava a když se ti nedaří, tak prostě, tak ti je všechno jedno a nehraješ už. Musíš hrát prostě tak, že prostě necílčit hrát na maximum vždycky, no, vždycky.
And whatever he has to do to make that happen, he will. There's a lot of good breakdowns on YouTube from channels like Dobby and Today on the Super Server that cover his gameplay. If you're looking how to play this style, there is no better way to do that than watching these videos, and I'll leave a link in the description down below. Addie has also been covered by XP2, who is one of my favorite creators and the best source for everything Shen related. The reason that he talked about him is because this season, a new champion that Addie started playing is Shen, but we'll come back to this in a bit. His most played champion has always been Taric, and that's the champion that really put him on the map. This Taric top and jungle is deadly, and is clearly his most practiced pick. The supportive nature of Taric allows him to be at minimum.
Jako on s tím Ghostem může být fakt dobrý, no. Když říká, že je dobrý teamfighter, ten hráč, tak to, že hraje Ghost, dává velký smysl, protože ten Ghost je fakt strašně dobrý v teamfightech, no.
A CC bot, and in the best situations, a disgusting combination of utility, tankiness, damage, and enchanter properties. When used well, Taric is one of League's strongest champions that nobody really plays. For years, Taric has been a secret OP laner with strong damage and half-decent wave clear. Addie will run down into bot lane, use the stun and the ultimate to tank towers and dive bot. He loves to follow around with his jungler and make plays with them. And one thing about Addie's playstyle is that he's never selfish. He will help laners push out waves, but doesn't purposefully steal cannon minions.
Já taky jim pomáhám odpušovat baby. Když tady hrdím jungle, tak vždycky pomáhám odpušovat baby. Protože jim to prostě pomůže, že jo, a enemy ztratě, co by ne.
He will always come to help at objective fights and clear vision.
Jsem úplně já, ne? No, mám podobný jméno jak já, ty vole.
He will always choose to sack waves top and be there to assist and go to the Rift Heralds. I truly believe this is something that we can all learn from and should do more of. We could all be better teammates, and even when other players are raging out of their minds, that doesn't mean we have to stoop down to their level. When the Baus went to Korea, he encountered our friend Addie several times, and in one of my favorite clips, he went as far as saying that he believes Addie is not just a really good player, not just deserving of high elo, but in his words, Addie is the best player he's ever seen. His logic is airtight.
I don't think there's any doubt. If this guy puts even a single thought into his gameplay, he gets rank 1.
At the time, Baus believed that if Addie had put any thought into his gameplay, if he really tried and cared, he could get rank 1. And funny enough, it turns out he was right. Heading into this season, Addie probably set some goals for himself and really put his mind into League, and it paid off. This year, he's accomplished 2 extremely impressive things. He was the first player to reach Challanger on the Korean ladder, which obviously meant that he was rank 1, And not only did Addie get to rank 1 and hold it for some time, he's also been able
Či top lane jungle Tarik v Ranked v Koreji. A udržel se v top 5 až 15.
to hold high Challanger. At the time of recording, he's been hovering around rank 5 to 15, and just as he's always done, he's doing it with the same off-meta and wacky builds. He is the king of innovation. What I find most interesting about the Tarik this year is just how much of it has been.
Jako Tarik se podceňuje, ale on když má dost many a furt může mlátit a healovat se, to prostě nezbiješ, no. To fakt jako dokáže vychvátit skoro cokoliv, když to má dost many. To se to nezdá, ale to insane, no. To staví na to ten film Bull Winter, tu kapku, kapkovej tank item, Gauntletu. Nezdá se to, ale Tarik je prostě silný, no. A s Ghostem to fakt jako dává smysl, že by to mohlo fungovat, no.
In previous seasons, it seems like
si zahraju jungle Tarika,
he tended to queue top and support and play Tarik support if he
že tohle to vypadá jako správný build, no.
got filled into his secondary, but a lot of his success this year is coming in jungle. And the reason that's so impressive is because clearly, even though he's a god tier Tarik player, that shouldn't mean it has to translate to all the roles in the game. Same champion or not, jungle
třeba jako top je moje nejhorší role, si myslím teda. Takže chápu, no, protože jako v jungli, jako víš co, top lane je jako punishing dost, no. Tam jako, tam když máš blbý matchup, tak jako můžeš jenom farmit, nevím, vyhýbat se fightění, no, a hrát na XP, nebo a nechcípat, no, nebo víš co.
jungle is very different.
Musím si představit, že má dost špatných matchupů Tarik.
From top and support. So the fact that Addie can play Tarik at a rank 1 caliber level in 3 different roles means that his fundamental understanding of League is top tier. Is he jungling against the disgusting pre-nerf broken permaban-worthy Maokai? No problem. How about a 10 KDA and 71% kill participation?
On se prohýluje, že? Skrz toho Maokai, který byl jako v té době asi dost silný, podle toho, co říká. Byla meta, no, když se hrál Maokai v jungle do AP, to bylo nechutný.
What about jungling in a full Challanger lobby against the Sejuani matchup? A champion that players have abused for free.
Ale to je taky to je docela jako v pohodě matchup do Sejuani, si myslím. Spíš by měl asi problém do nějakých bruiserů nebo asasinů, nevím. A v teamfightech zase ne, protože prohýluje své teammatey, dá jim Erko, že jo?
Low all season, 17 KDA. Too easy. As I mentioned before, a relatively new pick for him this year has been the Shen, and his preferred setup looks like this. He likes to grab Radiant Virtue for his mythic, but before he does that, he likes to pick up a Sunfire Cape, sometimes even against magic damage. This is because the trading power,
Radiant Virtue už není ve hře, no.
wave clear and kill threat of a Sunfire Shen
To video je starý rok asi, takže to berte trošku potaz.
is surprisingly high. He also likes to pick up Bramble Vest when needed before his mythic. His favorite item across all of his champions and something you'll never see him play without is the Lucidity Boots. This is like his trusty
On hraje Lucidity bodky úplně na všechno, no. Na tom Tarikovi to je dobrý, na Shenovi asi taky bych řekl. A na teamfightění vlastně to může být taky dobrý, no. Proč ne? Když jako je orientovaný na teamfighty, chce furt rozdávat stuny, rozdávat healy, shieldy za Tarika. Jasně, no. A na toho Shena asi.
sidekick. More teleports in Ghost means more plays, more
Jo, a vlastně to ještě snižuje Summoner, cooldown Summoner spellu, no. Takže ten Ghost má o to častěji ještě.
ultimates means more game-changing roams, and more
Makes
roams
sense.
means more wins. When Addie cooks something up in the lab, you know it's going to be spicy, and this year it's been his Pantheon tech. Other than some dedicated one-tricks, Pantheon has not been in the meta for quite some time, but that doesn't mean that he's necessarily a bad champion. With a little bit of practice, you can make the Pantheon work, and in the case of Addie, he came up with a brand new technology, Spear of Sojin. If you want to see just how good Addie can be, you should really watch his Pantheon plays, because this is where his mechanics are on full display. The biggest...
Jo, ale co má Ghost v tom fightu, jo? On běhá prostě úplně extrémně rychle a ti hráči proti němu jako... Víš co, zase, je to hodně tím Ghostem, nechci říkat, že je špatný, jo? To rozhodně není. Ale tím, že máš Ghost, tak se ti hraje jako... v teamfightech extrémně jako daleko líp než těm, co ten Ghost nemají a běhají pomalu, zatímco ty je kajtíš a běháš jak Magor, že jo? Jak třeba Hekarim, který má zaplý Ečko a Ghost a jenom běhá, vole, a spamuje kvéčka. Tak jsou třeba klipy od Dantese, že jo, který tam běhá, vole, a všichni říkají, jak strašně dobře kajtí a spaceuje, vole, a přitom je to tím, že prostě má, vole, 800 movement speed, že jo? Ti ostatní nemají, takže ti ostatní jsou prostě absolutně jako nevýhodě, jo.
The reason that Addie was able to claim rank 1 this year is because his mechanics have improved substantially. By now you would...
Že naflashovat někoho s tím stunem je taky super. To je, ale to máš jednou za 5 minut. Ghost, když si vemeš asi ten Summoner, a ještě možná je runa, která snižuje s coolem Summoneru, že jo? Tak jakoby ten Ghost máš tak každý 2,5 minuty, ne? Flash 5 minut, Ghost 2,5 minuty zhruba.
Probably assume that Addie is not a top-tier mechanical player if he's low CS, likes to roam, and doesn't mind losing lane. It seems like he would be more of a macro genius than a keyboard wizard, and while that does make sense, it's not the case. The reason that Addie can play these weird champions with wacky builds, and the reason that he can greed to not take flash, and the reason that he doesn't need ignite for lane is because he's just too good for those things. Addie has the capability of destroying his lane on Pantheon, which is a style we had not seen from him in previous.
Jako měl by mu tohle vyjít, když je level 1, jako jsem to level 2. Co mu ne teďka? A měl nastakovaný kvéčku, že? Ty vole, 141 damage na level 1 od Pantheona do Kasantého. No dobře, no. Ale zase měl ten Ghost, víš co? Ten Ghost dělá hodně, já vám to říkám.
I'll learn from Addie that you do not have to conform to the meta. That doesn't mean that I'm suggesting any of you troll
Musím taky začít hrát víc Ghost, ty vole.
your rank games. Please do not do that. It's not fair to your teammates. What I mean instead is that if something catches your eye, we should at least go try it out in a normal game and try to optimize it a bit. You do not have to build the standard items that stats websites or other players tell you to do. If you happen to think that something is better, by all means at least give it a chance. Test it out in some norms and try to draw a conclusion from it. And if you're the type of player that feels like norms don't have a value or a purpose, well, take it from the main man himself. Addie is one of the few Korean
ten testuje hodně buildy, no.
Challenger players that I've ever seen
Taky testuju buildy v normálkách, vlastně.
That actually has normal games on his match history. If even he is willing to test out things and play for fun in unranked sometimes, that means you can too. The final lesson is that you shouldn't get too upset or take things too seriously. Clearly, it's not a good idea to tilt or rage split or grief games, and nobody likes playing with those players. But even on a smaller scale, something like soft trolling or ego checking the enemy, none of these things help anybody, yourself included. You can even look at world champions like Showmaker. Have you ever seen any of this guy's streams? This dude has reached the pinnacle of the game. He is a world-class player that grinds more than 10 hours a day every single day of his life, and even he can still have fun playing from time to time. Very often you'll see Showmaker laughing, smiling, and enjoying the good parts of the game. Nobody is saying that you need to be perfect, and it's that easy to just stop tilting. Obviously, it's difficult to do that, and this game is frustrating at times, but we all know that as a community of players, we can do better. We can have a little fun, and it's just a game after all. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to leave a like and tell me in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time.
Zajímavý. A jako říkám, je to rok starý video, takže píšete tady, že Ghost už je nerfnutý, já nečtu pečnouty nějak, takže to je asi jedno. Lolko je tak dobrý, jak dobrý ho uděláš, no. Podíváme se, co hraje teďka, zkusím ho vygooglit. Vole, on hraje pro play teďka. Jestli jsem teda našel toho stejného, jo. Tak on teďka hraje v pro play, vole. On od minulé sezóny byl v jakýmsi týmu a tenhle rok hrál dokonce LCK? Nebo to je možná někdo jiný, já nevím. Ale jméno má úplně stejný teda. Nevím, jestli googlím, ne. V eSport Academy hrál jakési. Takže on dokonce hraje jakoby hnedka druhou soutěž pod LCK, že jo, pod korejskou jakoby ligou. Asi je dobrý, ale víc asi nevím, kde o něm najít něco ještě. Má jako hustý, no, neříkám nic. Tak se to má hrát uši. Vždycky se snažte, každou hru se snažte. Tak hraju taky třeba, no. Teda jako samozřejmě na streamu jsem to občas ztratil, ale když tryhardím na mainu, tak prostě, i když mám 0.6, tak se furt snažím. Nesnáším lidi, kteří to nedělají. Dokážu hrát champy bez damage a hrát to na teamfighty. Pak se přišlo na to, že Ghost je moc broken, tak se začalo hrát na midu a všechny ADC a pak to dostalo nerv. Jo, to byla ta doba, kdy se dal Ghost flash na všechno, že? Na ADC, na mid, na všecko. To bylo dost otravný, no. To bylo hodně otravný.